Hey guys, welcome to Becca in the Balance. I am Becca, and today we are making Miss Jessie's potluck beans. This is actually not my recipe. Miss Jessie at my church had these made for a potluck, and I asked for the recipe and brought home the leftovers. So we are going to make a big batch of these and put them in plastic containers and store them for any meals that are bean appropriate. I'm actually really looking forward to this. We've all had baked beans before, but you know the difference when you had somebody's really good homemade baked bean recipe. So that's what we're having. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know you can also find me over on Instagram. I'm there day to day with my family. There are regular meals you can see that we're having. I'm also on Pinterest, and you can shop everything that you see in this video with the link in my bio that says shop. There is also going to be a printable recipe free to you that is linked in my bio of this recipe, Miss Jessie's potluck beans. So let's get started. So as I said, this is a bigger batch of beans. It is literally for potluck. So we're starting off by browning 2 pounds of hamburger. If you've never browned hamburger before, I realize those of us who've cooked a bunch think that sounds silly, but some haven't. All you're literally going to do is take that hamburger out of the package, put it in a pan on like a medium-low heat, and you're literally just going to cook it until it turns brown. Then you're going to want to get it out of the grease and all the juices that's in there and drain them on a paper towel before you put them in here. I went ahead and already did my hamburger. So here is my brown drained hamburger. This is 2 pounds. I've got my cutting board out because our next step is we are going to chop up 1 small onion, try to find a nice small one, and a half of a green bell pepper. Now, if you don't like onions and you don't like bell peppers, I would still recommend using this and just dicing them up really tiny for the flavor. If you don't like the flavor, obviously you can omit those. So let's get these all chopped up. So as I said before, this is not my recipe. We were having a potluck to say goodbye to our high school seniors as they are graduating and going off to do other things. And they were doing like a cookout style potluck. So there was hamburgers and hot dogs, and then they had these huge things of baked beans. And they looked amazing right off the bat. You know when you're getting homemade baked beans. And I tried them and they were amazing. I thought about them all week long. A lot of our stuff, because our church makes so much for potlucks, they have like leftover boxes. You can take leftovers, but I didn't want to do that. But all week long, I thought about them. So on Wednesday night when they had youth group, they always feed the students, and they had leftovers of these beans. I was so excited to see them again. So I made sure I asked for the recipe, and it's the South. It was graciously given to me. So this is actually Miss Jessie's mother-in-law's recipe for these baked beans. And yes, it is totally worth the effort. And I was able to take home the leftovers that night as well, which made it even better. All right. So this just said onion in the recipe. I went ahead and did yellow onion because that made the most sense to me. I'm just going to give it a good dice. We are making a big batch, so we need a big pan. I got these at Sam's Club. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to do that half of a bell pepper. And I need to research this a little bit better, but I know that you can tell if it's like a male or female one by how many lumps are on the bottom, and some are sweeter than others. I really should know more about that. The only thing I know about bell peppers is that I used to work at an Italian restaurant in high school, and we did this, oh my gosh, it's totally escaping me now, but we did this recipe that was like sausage and peppers and onions over pasta with marinara sauce, and I just remember chopping up the bell peppers. My daughter running through here like a horse. I remember chopping up the bell peppers and being surprised by how much I love the smell, because my mom wasn't a very like adventurous cook. So we didn't do a lot of like peppers. She did do onions and garlic, which is a favorite. But I just remember being like, that actually smells really good. I can literally still smell the sausage and the bell peppers. I should try and remake that. I bet my husband would love that. So we homeschool, and it is summertime. So no matter what, my kids would still be here. But it is kind of a rainy, cloudy day, and she's on the phone with one of her little friends. And it's just so fun to listen to their little conversations. Lots of imagination. So I'm going to chop these up as small as I can because I do like the flavor, but I don't love the texture. I don't use bell peppers very often. I also don't use a lot of green onions. When you buy them, they usually come in a big bunch or a big bell pepper. So I wash them ahead of time, chop them all up, and then I literally put them in little bags or in little containers in the freezer, and I mark how much is on there because when things freeze, their size tends to change. So I'll measure it ahead of time and write a half of a cup chopped green bell pepper, and then when I need one for a recipe later, I have one. On the recipe, it calls for 1 restaurant style can of Bush's baked beans. The restaurant style is quite a bit bigger than this. I asked her sister, and she had said she thinks it's about 126 ounces. So what I did was I just got 2 of these, which are 55 ounces a piece. I think that gets us close enough. So we're going to add these into it. Usually for a potluck, these are the kind of beans I have just plain on their own, and they're just not my favorite. So this, with everything else we're going to add, so good. Okay, so that first one's open. You're going to pour that in, all the liquid and everything. And number 2. I thought these would be the perfect recipe since we are rapidly getting closer to summer, barbecues, and the 4th of July, because I would love to see these at some 4th of July picnic. Okay, next one is pork and beans, showboat pork and beans. So something I had not heard of before. I'm wondering if it is a Southern thing. If you've only lived in one place your whole life, you may not know, but in other parts of America, they have very specific things that you just don't really see. So there's a ton of stuff down here that I don't, at least, ever seemed apparent to me up north. And I'm sure it goes the other direction for people in the South. So I can't say that I've ever used a northern bean in anything before. If it was in something, I didn't realize it, but they have an excellent smell. Like, they smell like a bean, but it's really good. It makes me want to like fry them. Okay, then it's 1 can of Rotel. And then 1 cup of barbecue sauce. We use this Sweet Baby Ray's, so that's what I'm going to put in here. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. The whole mixture together. And then 1 cup of brown sugar, and I did pack mine in. And 1 teaspoon of mustard. You're going to put what on you? Red? Oh, marker? Okay. Now her recipe did say that she adds garlic powder and salt and pepper just till it tastes right. So because she was going based off of her own taste buds, I know we like garlic, I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'll leave the salt and pepper seasoning up to you. Everyone is different. I will probably add a little bit of salt on my own, but I may just leave out the pepper and let people add that if they want. Now we're going to stir everything up so it's well combined. These are going to go in the oven at 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. We're just looking to cook them all the way through, or warm them all the way through until they're nice and bubbly. Okay, I think I've got that pretty good. And now, don't forget, adding your 2 pounds of cooked, drained hamburger. And then stir all that together. Actually, the hamburger, to me, seeing it mixed in with the beans was my favorite part. I love when we get protein in with a side. It adds such a good flavor. So that was something I was excited to see in a side. And that's it. So now it's in the oven to cook. So we're halfway through, and I'm giving them a good stir. You guys, these smell incredible. Oh my gosh. I'm more excited about these than I should be. They smell so perfect. Okay, guys, the beans are done. They smell amazing, just like they did that blessed day that I first saw them at church. I made myself a little bowl to cool down because these are still super duper hot. But take a look at these. Oh my gosh, so good. Let's give it a try and see if it is exactly as I remember. You just have to try them. They are so good. These are sure to be a hit at any barbecue you go to this summer. I promise you. I think I'm going to serve these up tonight with some homemade JoJo's that I'm making that I will share with you guys later this week. I'm also going to make those with some hot dogs with some homemade hot dog buns, a recipe I'm going to share with you also a little bit later. It's going to be a little cookout on this rainy day, but it is going to lift my spirits tremendously. So good. Once these are totally cooled, I'm going to put them in those containers, mark them with the date on them and what they are, and then stick them out in my freezer so I have them for meals anytime I want some, which it's going to be a pretty frequent thing. Don't forget to get your free recipe linked in my bio and shop anything you saw here today also linked in my bio under the shop tab. If you guys have any questions, never be afraid to ask. I'm always happy to help, and I'll see you guys next time.